Imagine a world where every whisper of the wind, every rustle of leaves, and every drop of rain carries a hint of magic. This is a world where nature and sorcery are intertwined, where the elements themselves breathe life into the spells and rituals of ancient times. Across centuries and cultures, the power of nature has been a source of awe, fear, and reverence. It is in the heart of the earth, the flow of water, the heat of fire, and the breath of air that the oldest forms of magic find their roots. In the beginning, before cities and machines, people lived close to the land. They felt the earth beneath their feet, tasted the rain on their tongues, and marveled at the stars above. Nature was not just a backdrop, it was alive, full of spirits, forces, and mysteries beyond understanding. When a storm swept through the village, it wasn't just weather, it was the sky speaking, the gods raging, or the spirits of the air dancing in anger or joy. And so, they turned to those who understood these signs, those who could speak the language of the elements, the witches, the shamans, the wise ones. These were the people who could call the rain to nourish the crops or banish it to save the harvest. They could heal with the herbs of the forest, drawing the strength of the earth into their hands. They knew the secrets of fire, how to tame it and how to use it to ward off the darkness. They understood the winds, how they could carry prayers to the gods or sweep away the shadows of illness. To them, magic was not a thing apart from the world, it was the world itself, a living, breathing force that pulsed through every rock, river, flame, and breeze. In many cultures, the earth itself was seen as the most ancient and powerful force. The earth was the giver of life, the cradle of all beings. From its depths came the minerals that formed tools and weapons, the clay that became homes, and the plants that fed and healed. Witches who could commune with the earth were revered for their connection to this primordial power. They knew the cycles of planting and harvest, the secrets of fertility and growth. They could call forth the bounty of the earth or, if angered, withhold it, turning fields barren and causing famine. Water, too, was a source of profound magic. In its flowing streams and deep oceans, water was seen as a bridge between worlds, the world of the living and the world of spirits. Water witches could control the tides, summon rain, or calm a storm. They were often feared as much as they were respected, for water is both a giver of life and a force of destruction. In many myths, rivers were said to be the homes of powerful spirits or gods, and those who could command them held immense power. A village by a river might thrive or perish based on the favor of a water witch. Fire was perhaps the most paradoxical of the elements, both a source of warmth and life and a bringer of pain and death. To control fire was to control one of the most dangerous forces known to humanity. Fire witches were often guardians, keeping the hearths burning and the light alive in the darkest nights. But they were also warriors, using fire's destructive power to protect or avenge. In some cultures, fire was seen as a purifier, burning away evil and corruption. Witches who wielded fire were both feared and honored, for they held the power to cleanse as well as destroy. The air, ever-present and ever-moving, was seen as the most mysterious of the elements. It was the breath of life, the carrier of voices, the bringer of change. Air witches were often seers or prophets, those who could read the winds and predict the future. They could send messages on the breeze, call forth storms, or calm the wildest tempests. The air was also associated with the spirit, with thoughts, dreams, and the soul. Witches who could control the air were thought to have a connection to the divine, to be able to reach beyond the physical world and touch the spiritual. Across the world, the connection between nature and magic was a common thread in the stories, rituals, and beliefs of countless cultures. In the frozen north, the shamans of the tundra called on the spirits of the animals and the land to guide them through the harsh winters. In the tropical forests, the medicine men and women spoke to the trees and the rivers, drawing on their wisdom and strength. On the vast plains, the people danced to honor the sun, the rain, and the wind, calling on them to sustain life. But this connection was not just about survival. It was about understanding, about seeing the world as a place where every element had a spirit, a will, a magic of its own. To those who practiced nature-based sorcery, the world was not a place to be conquered or tamed, but a partner in an ancient dance. The earth was a mother, the water a life-giver, the fire a protector, and the air a guide. To live in harmony with these forces was to live in harmony with life itself. These beliefs were not just the product of imagination or superstition. They were born from a deep, intuitive understanding of the world and humanity's place within it. The witches, shamans, and wise ones of old knew that to ignore the elements was to invite disaster. They knew that to live without respect for the earth, water, fire, and air was to live without respect for life. And so, they taught their secrets, passed down through generations, each one adding to the rich tapestry of magic and folklore that continues to inspire and captivate. In these stories, we see not just the power of the elements, but the power of belief, of tradition, and of the human spirit. We see the awe and wonder with which our ancestors viewed the world, a world where magic was not just possible, but inevitable, where every stone, every drop of water, every flame, and every breeze carried the pulse of life itself. It's a world that still whispers to us, through the trees, in the crash of waves, in the flicker of firelight, and in the sigh of the wind, reminding us of the magic that lies just beneath the surface, waiting to be heard. The earth beneath our feet is more than just soil and stone. It holds memories, ancient and timeless, whispering the stories of those who came before us. The earth is alive, pulsing with the same energy that has nurtured life since the dawn of time. This energy, raw and powerful, has always been a source of wonder and reverence, especially for those who could tap into it, the witches of the earth. In the old days, when the world was still wild and untamed, there were those who could feel the heartbeat of the earth. They were the ones who knew where to find the hidden springs in the driest deserts, who could coax crops from barren fields, who could sense the subtle shifts in the ground before an earthquake. These were the earth witches, women, and men who carried the knowledge of the land within them, passed down through generations in secret words and sacred rituals. In Slavic folklore, the earth was seen as a great mother, a goddess who gave life to all creatures. The earth witches of these lands were her daughters, her chosen ones, blessed with the power to heal and protect. They were called Vedma, wise women who lived on the edges of villages, in forests or fields, close to the earth they served. People came to them in times of need, seeking their help to heal the sick, bless the harvest, or ward off evil spirits. The Vedma could draw power from the earth itself, pulling its strength into their hands as they mixed herbs, chanted spells, or crafted charms. It was said that they could speak to the trees, the rivers, and the mountains, and that these ancient beings would answer them, sharing their wisdom and power. In Celtic lands, the earth was also revered as a source of life and magic. The Celtic people believed in the spirit of the land, known as the goddess of the land, who was both nurturing and fierce. The earth witches of these lands, often known as druids, were deeply connected to this spirit. They could feel the presence of the goddess in the stones, the hills, and the forests. The druids were the keepers of sacred groves, where they performed rituals to honor the earth and the spirits that dwelled within it. They could call upon the power of the earth to bring fertility to the land, to heal the wounded, or to curse those who would harm the natural world. One of the most famous earth witches in Celtic mythology is the Cailleach, the old woman of the mountains. The Cailleach is a powerful figure, both feared and respected. She is the personification of the earth itself, ancient and eternal. In the winter, she is the bringer of storms and frost, but in the spring, she transforms, giving life to the fields and forests once again. It is said that she can move mountains, create lochs, and shape the land with a mere touch of her staff. The Cailleach is not just a witch, she is the earth in all its power and glory. In these stories, the earth witches are not just healers or protectors, they are part of the earth itself. They draw their power from the soil, the rocks, and the roots that run deep beneath the surface. They understand the cycles of the seasons, the rhythms of growth and decay, and they work in harmony with these natural forces. To them, the earth is not just a resource to be used, but a living being to be respected and honored. The power of the earth is not always gentle. It can be fierce, unyielding, and unforgiving. Earth witches know this, and they respect it. They know that the earth can bring forth life, but it can also take it away. In times of drought, famine, or plague, people turn to the earth witches, begging them to intercede on their behalf. The witches would perform their rituals, calling upon the earth to be merciful, to spare the crops, to heal the sick. Sometimes, the earth would answer with a bountiful harvest or a miraculous recovery. Other times, it would remain silent, its reasons known only to the witches who served it. These witches were not just figures of folklore, they were real people, living in harmony with the land, guided by a deep, almost instinctual connection to the earth. They knew the secrets of the soil, the plants, and the stones. They knew where to find the rare herbs that could cure or kill, how to use the power of the earth to strengthen their magic, and how to read the signs in the landscape to predict the future. They were the keepers of ancient knowledge, passed down through generations, from mother to daughter, from teacher to apprentice. Even today, the legacy of the earth witches lives on. The old ways may have faded, but the connection to the earth remains. In the quiet forests, the rolling hills, and the ancient mountains, the spirit of the earth still whispers to those who listen. And somewhere, in the hidden corners of the world, there are still those who know the old songs, who speak the old words, and who carry the ancient power of the earth within them. The earth, with all its power and mystery, continues to be a source of inspiration and awe. The stories of the earth witches remind us of the deep connection between humans and the land, a connection that has existed for as long as we have walked upon the earth. They remind us that the earth is not just a place to live, but a source of power, life, and magic, a force that has shaped our past and will continue to shape our future. In the stillness of dawn, as the first light kisses the surface of a quiet lake, there is a sense of something ancient stirring beneath the water. The soft ripples, the gentle lapping of waves, they carry more than just the touch of a breeze, they carry the whispers of old magic, of secrets hidden in the depths. Water has always been a source of mystery and wonder, a gateway to the unknown, a mirror to the soul. It is both life and death, calm and storm, a force that can nourish or destroy. Those who understand this, who feel the pull of the tides in their blood and hear the songs of the rivers in their dreams, are the witches of water. Water, with its endless forms, rivers, lakes, oceans, rain, is the element of fluidity, change, and emotion. It is the blood of the earth, flowing through the land, shaping it, nurturing it. But it is also the keeper of memories, a place where the past is preserved, and where the future can be glimpsed in the ripples. Water witches, those who are born with a connection to this element, know that water is not just a physical force, but a spiritual one. It holds the power to cleanse, to heal, to reveal, and to transform. In folklore, water has always been a symbol of the subconscious, of the hidden depths of the human soul. It is in the quiet, dark places of lakes and oceans that we find the most mysterious creatures, mermaids, nymphs, and water spirits. These beings are often depicted as beautiful, alluring, but also dangerous, reflecting the dual nature of water itself. They are the embodiment of the enchantment and peril that comes with venturing into the unknown. Mermaids, perhaps the most famous of water spirits, have long captured the imagination of people around the world. With their flowing hair and shimmering tails, they are creatures of both beauty and tragedy. In many stories, mermaids are said to lure sailors to their doom with their haunting songs, dragging them down into the cold, dark depths where they will never be seen again. But mermaids are not just monsters, they are also symbols of longing and loss. They live between two worlds, the sea and the land, belonging fully to neither. Their songs are filled with the sorrow of this separation, of a love that can never be fully realized. In some tales, mermaids are benevolent, helping those who are lost at sea, guiding them to safety. They are protectors of the ocean, watching over its creatures and ensuring that the balance is maintained. But even in these stories, there is always a sense of caution, a reminder that the sea, and those who dwell within it, are not to be taken lightly. The ocean is vast and deep, its power beyond human control, and those who forget this do so at their peril. Nymphs, too, are beings of water, though their presence is often more subtle. They are the spirits of rivers, streams, and springs, often depicted as young, beautiful women who dance in the dappled sunlight or sit by the water's edge, combing their hair. Nymphs are usually kind and gentle, associated with the life-giving aspects of water. They bless the lands they inhabit, bringing fertility and abundance to the surrounding area. But like all water spirits, they have a darker side. They are fiercely protective of their homes, and those who pollute or disrespect the waters often find themselves cursed, lost in the wilderness, or pulled under the surface, never to return. Water witches, like the spirits they are connected to, are both healers and avengers. They can call upon the soothing, cleansing properties of water to heal wounds, both physical and emotional. They use the water to scry, gazing into the reflective surface to see what has been and what is yet to come. But they can also summon the destructive power of water when necessary, calling forth floods and storms to punish those who threaten the balance of the natural world. To them, water is a living, breathing entity, one that must be respected and honored. In many cultures, water is also a symbol of rebirth and transformation. It is in the water that we are baptized, cleansed of our sins, and reborn into a new life. It is in the water that we find renewal, whether through a ritual bath, a drink from a sacred spring, or a plunge into the ocean. Water witches understand this power of transformation better than anyone. They know that just as water can erode stone over time, so too can it wash away the old, making way for the new. They use this knowledge to help those who are lost, guiding them through the dark waters of their own souls, helping them to find their way back to the light. But the path of the water witch is not an easy one. To be connected to water is to be connected to emotion, to feel everything deeply, to be constantly shifting and changing like the tides. It is to carry the weight of the world's sorrows, to feel the pain of every tear shed, every heart broken. Water witches are often solitary figures, drawn to the quiet places where they can be alone with their thoughts, with the whispers of the water. They are the ones who sit by the shore at dawn, listening to the waves, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they are both a part of the world and apart from it. Yet, there is also a deep peace in this connection. For in water, there is also the promise of serenity, of stillness. In the calm of a lake at twilight, in the gentle rain that nourishes the earth, and the endless ebb and flow of the tides, there is a reminder that life is a cycle, ever-changing but always continuing. Water witches, with their understanding of this cycle, are the keepers of this ancient wisdom. They are the ones who remind us that in the depths of despair, there is always the possibility of renewal, that after the storm comes the calm, and that in the quiet, still waters, we can always find our reflection, and perhaps, our true selves. Fire is a force like no other. It flickers with life, dances with passion, and consumes everything in its path. In its warmth, there is comfort, but in its flames, there is also destruction. Fire is a symbol of the wild, untamed energy that exists within all of us, a force that can create or destroy, heal or harm. Those who walk in the path of fire know that it is not to be taken lightly. They are the fire witches, beings who harness the power of flame, understanding its dual nature, respecting its might, and wielding it with a mix of fear and reverence. In the ancient world, fire was seen as a sacred gift from the gods, a divine spark that could bring life and light to the darkest of places. But it was also a reminder of the destructive power of nature, a force that could reduce cities to ashes and turn forests into charred wastelands. Fire witches were those who could control this volatile element, who could summon the flames with a whispered word or a flick of the wrist. They were feared and revered in equal measure, their power both a blessing and a curse. In Greek mythology, one of the most powerful figures associated with fire is Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft, magic, and the night. Hecate is often depicted holding torches, lighting the way through the darkness. She is a guide, a protector, but also a formidable force of destruction. As a goddess of fire, Hecate is the embodiment of its dual nature. She can light the path or burn it down, depending on her will. Her witches, those who followed her and learned from her, were known to wield fire with a similar intensity. They were feared for their ability to summon flames, to cast fireballs, or to ignite their enemies with a single glance. But they were also healers, using fire's purifying qualities to cleanse wounds, to burn away sickness, and to forge new beginnings from the ashes of the old. In Hindu mythology, fire is personified by Agni, the god of fire and the mediator between humans and the gods. Agni is present in every ritual, every offering made to the gods, for it is through fire that these offerings are carried to the heavens. Fire witches in this tradition were often seen as priestesses, keepers of the sacred flames. They tended the fires in the temples, ensuring that the divine connection between the earth and the heavens was maintained. But their power was not limited to the sacred. Like the flames they tended, these witches could be fierce and unpredictable. They could call upon Agni's power to bring firestorms upon those who angered them or to incinerate their enemies in a blaze of righteous fury. Yet, even in their most destructive moments, fire witches understood that fire was not just about destruction. It was also a force of renewal, of rebirth. When the old is burned away, new life can begin. This is why fire has always been a symbol of purification, of cleansing the impurities from both the body and the soul. In many cultures, fire rituals were performed to mark the beginning of a new chapter, whether it was the start of a new year, the birth of a child, or the passing of a loved one. Fire witches, with their deep connection to this element, were often called upon to oversee these rituals, to ensure that the flames burned bright and true, carrying away the old and making way for the new. But the path of the fire witch is not an easy one. To walk with fire is to embrace both its warmth and its danger. It is to live on the edge, knowing that a single misstep could lead to disaster. Fire witches are often solitary figures, drawn to the wild places where they can practice their craft away from prying eyes. They are the ones who sit by the bonfire long after everyone else has gone to bed, staring into the flames, seeing visions in the dancing light. They are the ones who walk barefoot over hot coals, feeling the heat but not flinching, knowing that the fire is their friend, their ally, their power. And yet, even in their solitude, there is a connection, a bond with the fire that is both intimate and unbreakable. Fire witches understand that they are not just wielders of fire, they are part of it. The flames that burn in the hearth, the sparks that fly from the forge, the embers that glow in the dark, all of these are reflections of the fire that burns within them. It is a fire that cannot be extinguished, a flame that will continue to burn long after the last log has turned to ash. This fire, this unyielding, unstoppable force, is what gives the fire witches their strength. It is what allows them to face the darkness without fear, to stand in the midst of the flames and not be consumed. They know that fire, like life, is fleeting, that it must be tended and cared for if it is to continue burning. And so, they guard their flames, nurturing them, feeding them, ensuring that they never go out. But even as they wield this power, fire witches never forget the lesson of fire, that with great power comes great responsibility. They know that fire can be a force for good, bringing light and warmth to the coldest nights, but it can also be a force of destruction, reducing everything in its path to cinders. It is a delicate balance, one that requires constant vigilance and respect. For in the end, fire is not just a tool or a weapon, it is a living, breathing force, one that must be honored and revered, just as the fire witches themselves are. There is a moment, just before the storm hits, when the air grows still and thick with anticipation. It's as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for the first crack of thunder, the first gust of wind. In that silence, there is a power that is both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a power that belongs to the witches of the air. Air is the element of intellect and spirit, the invisible force that moves through the world, touching everything but never seen. It is the breath of life, the voice of the gods, the whisper of the soul. For those who are attuned to its currents, air is more than just the wind, it is a source of immense power, a force that can be harnessed to bend reality, to shape the world, to control the very fabric of existence. These are the witches of the air, those who walk with the wind, who speak with the storms, who command the skies. In the old stories, there are tales of storm witches, women who could summon tempests with a flick of their wrists, who could call down lightning with a single word. These witches were feared and revered, for they held the power of the heavens in their hands. They were the ones who could calm a storm with a breath or stir up a hurricane with a scream. But their power was not just in their ability to control the weather, it was in their connection to the air, to the intangible, the unseen. They could hear the voices carried on the wind, could speak with the spirits of the sky, could see things that others could not. The air witches were not just weather workers, they were seers, prophets, and oracles. They were the ones who could read the patterns in the clouds, who could interpret the messages in the wind, who could see the future in the way the leaves rustled in the breeze. Their power was in their mind, in their spirit, and their ability to transcend the physical and touch the ethereal. They were the keepers of knowledge, the guardians of wisdom, the ones who understood the true nature of the world. But with this power came a responsibility, for the air is fickle and unpredictable, and those who seek to control it must be careful not to lose themselves in its currents. Air witches walked a fine line between control and chaos, between order and madness. They were often solitary, for the voices they heard were not always kind, and the visions they saw were not always clear. But they were strong, for they knew that their power was not in their ability to control the wind, but in their understanding of it. In many cultures, the wind is seen as a messenger of the gods, a bringer of change, a force that can carry both blessings and curses. The witches of the air were often seen as intermediaries between the divine and the mortal, able to communicate with the gods and bring their messages to the people. They were the ones who could call down the wind to carry prayers to the heavens, who could invoke the spirits of the air to bring rain to the parched earth or to drive away the clouds and let the sun shine through. The goddesses of the wind were among the most powerful of these air witches, beings of immense power and wisdom. In Greek mythology, there was the goddess Aura, the personification of the breeze, gentle yet powerful, capable of both soothing and destroying. She was a symbol of the delicate balance of the air, the way it could shift from calm to storm in an instant. Her witches were those who understood this balance, who could walk the line between peace and chaos, who could harness the power of the wind without being consumed by it. In Norse mythology, there was Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, and war, who was also associated with the wind. She rode a chariot pulled by cats, their fur rippling in the wind as they flew across the sky. Freya's witches were fierce and independent, able to call down the winds to aid them in battle or to carry them across the world in the blink of an eye. They were warriors of the air, their spirits as free and wild as the winds they commanded. In the deserts of Africa, the wind is both a friend and a foe, bringing life-giving rain but also destructive sandstorms. The witches of the air in these lands were revered for their ability to control the winds, to call down the rains, or to drive away the storms. They were seen as protectors, guardians of the land and the people, able to use their powers to ensure that the winds brought only blessings and not destruction. But for all their power, the witches of the air knew that the wind could not be tamed, only guided. They did not seek to control the air, but to work with it, to understand its currents, to feel its breath on their skin and to listen to its whispers in their ears. They were the ones who could stand in the middle of a storm, feeling the winds tear at their clothes and whip their hair into a frenzy, and yet remain calm, their minds clear and their spirits strong. The air witches were the embodiment of the element they commanded, intelligent, wise, and free-spirited. They understood that the air was more than just a physical force, it was the breath of life, the voice of the gods, the spirit of the world. They knew that to control the air was to control the very essence of existence, and they wielded that power with care and respect. To be an air witch was to be in tune with the world, to feel the currents of energy that flowed through everything, to understand the interconnectedness of all things. It was to walk with the wind, to listen to its whispers, to see the world from a different perspective. It was a path of knowledge, of wisdom, of understanding, and of power. And it was a path that required strength, courage, and a deep respect for the element that gave them their power. For the witches of the air, the wind was not just a tool or a weapon, it was a companion, a guide, a source of endless wonder and mystery. It was the breath of the earth, the voice of the universe, the spirit that moved through all things. And it was their gift, their power, their responsibility, to work with this element, to understand it, to harness it, and to use it for the good of all. In the beginning, there was only darkness. A void so complete that it swallowed everything, leaving nothing but an endless abyss. But then, with a spark, light was born. It pushed back the darkness, creating a world of contrasts, a world where day turned into night, where shadows danced at the edges of the light, and where the balance between the two became the very essence of life. It is in this delicate balance that some witches find their power, their magic rooted in the duality of light and darkness. There are witches who can summon the light, who can command the brilliance of the sun and the gentle glow of the moon. These witches are often seen as the bringers of hope, the ones who can banish the darkness with a single thought. They are the light bearers, the ones who can call forth the dawn after the longest night, who can use the power of light to heal, to protect, to illuminate the hidden paths. Among these, the solar witches are the most radiant. They draw their strength from the sun, that great burning star that has given life to our world since the beginning of time. The sun is their ally, their source of power, and they wield its light with a grace that is as blinding as it is beautiful. In ancient Egypt, the sun goddess Hathor was revered as a symbol of motherhood and joy, her light bringing warmth and life to the earth. Her witches, those who followed her and worshipped her, could harness the power of the sun, using its energy to bring life to the barren land, to drive away the cold of winter, to bring warmth to the hearts of the people. But light is not always kind. The sun can burn as easily as it can warm, and solar witches must learn to control this power, to focus it, to wield it with care. For the light that can heal can also harm, and the brilliance that can illuminate can also blind. Solar witches walk a path of responsibility, knowing that their power is not just in bringing light, but in understanding its nature, its limits, its potential for both creation and destruction. In contrast to the solar witches, there are those who find their power in the darkness and the shadows that linger at the edge of the light. These are the lunar witches, those who draw their strength from the moon, that mysterious orb that rules the night. The moon is their guide, their protector, and they walk with the shadows, their magic woven from the threads of darkness and light. Lunar witches are often misunderstood, for darkness is often associated with fear, with the unknown, with danger. But these witches understand that darkness is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. The moon's light is gentle, soft, and it illuminates the world in a way that is different from the sun. It reveals the hidden, the subtle, the things that are often overlooked in the harsh light of day. Lunar witches can see the beauty in the shadows, the secrets that lie in the dark, the power that comes from understanding both the light and the darkness. In Greek mythology, the goddess Hecate, often associated with the moon, was a figure of great power and mystery. She was a goddess of witchcraft, of the night, of the crossroads, and her witches were those who could walk between the worlds of light and dark, who could see the future in the stars and the past in the shadows. They were the keepers of ancient knowledge, the guardians of secrets, the ones who understood the duality of light and darkness and used it to their advantage. But the path of the lunar witch is not an easy one. To walk with the moon is to understand that light and darkness are two sides of the same coin, that one cannot exist without the other. Lunar witches must learn to navigate the shadows, to find their way in the dark, to use the light of the moon to guide them even in the blackest of nights. They are the ones who can find the beauty in the darkness, who can see the potential in the shadows, who can use the power of the night to bring about change, to transform, to create. And then there are those witches who walk between the light and the dark, who understand the true nature of both and can wield the power of both. These witches are rare, for it is not easy to balance the light and the darkness, to understand that both are necessary, that both are powerful, that both can be used for good or for ill. These witches can call forth the light of the sun to banish the darkness, but they can also summon the shadows to protect, to conceal, to bring comfort in times of fear. They are the true masters of light and darkness, their power rooted in the understanding that neither is greater than the other, that both are needed for the world to exist as it does. In the stories of old, there are tales of witches who could call down the light of the stars, who could use the shadows to move unseen, who could bring both the light and the dark to bear in their magic. These witches were revered for their wisdom, for their ability to see the world as it truly is, a place of both light and dark, of day and night, of joy and sorrow. They were the ones who could see the balance in all things, who could use their magic to maintain that balance, to ensure that neither light nor darkness gained too much power, that the world remained in harmony. For the witches who control light and shadow, the world is a place of contrasts, of dualities, of endless possibilities. They understand that light and darkness are not enemies, but partners, that one cannot exist without the other, that both are necessary for the world to function as it does. They walk a path that is both difficult and rewarding, a path that requires them to understand not just the nature of light and darkness, but the nature of the world itself, of life, of death, of everything in between. These witches are the keepers of balance, the guardians of the light and the dark, the ones who understand that true power comes not from choosing one over the other, but from understanding and embracing both. They are the witches who can walk in the sunlight without fear, who can move through the shadows without hesitation, who can use the power of both light and darkness to bring about change, to create, to destroy, to heal, to harm. They are the true masters of magic, for they understand that in the end, light and darkness are not so different after all. They are simply two sides of the same coin, two aspects of the same power, two forces that, when combined, can create a magic like no other. In the heart of the forest, where the trees stand tall and ancient, there is a silence that hums with life. It's a place where the air is thick with the scent of earth and moss, where the light filters through the leaves, casting everything in a greenish glow. The forest is alive, a world unto itself, filled with secrets, with mysteries, with a magic that is as old as time. Here, in this liminal space, where the boundaries between the seen and unseen blur, the witches of the forest make their home. The forest has always been a place of wonder and fear, a place where the natural world seems to hold sway over everything else. It's a place where the wild things grow, where the animals roam free, where the trees whisper secrets to those who will listen. For the witches of the forest, this is sacred ground. It is a place where they draw their power, where they connect with the earth, where they become one with the natural world. Among the most feared and revered of these witches is Baba Yaga, the old crone who lives in a house that stands on chicken legs, deep in the heart of the Slavic forests. Baba Yaga is a figure of contradictions, a witch who can be both cruel and kind, both a helper and a hindrance. She is a guardian of the forest, a keeper of its secrets, and those who seek her out do so at their own risk. For Baba Yaga does not suffer fools, and those who enter her domain must be prepared to face her trials, to prove their worth, to earn her favor, or suffer the consequences. But Baba Yaga is more than just a witch, she is a symbol of the forest itself. She is as ancient as the trees, as wild as the animals, as unpredictable as the weather. She embodies the duality of nature, the way it can be both nurturing and dangerous, both beautiful and terrifying. She is a reminder that the forest is not a place to be taken lightly, that it is a world of its own, with its own rules, its own magic, its own power. Then there is the Green Man, a figure who appears in the folklore of many cultures, often depicted as a face made of leaves, with vines and branches growing from his head. The Green Man is the spirit of the forest, a symbol of rebirth, of the cycle of life and death that plays out in the natural world. He is a guardian of the wild, a protector of the trees, the animals, the plants. Those who walk with the Green Man are those who understand the forest, who respect its power, who know how to live in harmony with it. The witches who follow the Green Man are often healers, herbalists, those who know the secrets of the plants and the animals, who can use the magic of the forest to heal, to protect, to guide. They are the ones who can find the hidden paths, who can navigate the thickest woods, who can call upon the spirits of the forest to aid them in their magic. For them, the forest is not just a place, it is a living, breathing entity, a source of endless power and wisdom. The forest itself is a liminal space, a place where the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual blur. It is a place where time seems to stand still, where the past and the present exist side by side, where the spirits of the dead walk among the living. It is a place of transition, of change, of transformation. For the witches of the forest, this is a place of immense power, a place where they can connect with the spirits of the earth, with the forces of nature, with the magic that flows through all living things. In the forest, the trees are more than just trees, they are ancient beings, witnesses to the passage of time, keepers of secrets long forgotten. The witches of the forest know how to listen to the trees, how to understand their language, how to tap into the wisdom that they hold. They know that the forest is a place of healing, of renewal, of rebirth, and they use its magic to bring these things into the world. The animals of the forest are also seen as sacred by these witches. They are not just creatures, but guides, protectors, messengers. The witches of the forest know how to communicate with the animals, how to understand their signals, how to work with them in their magic. They know that the forest is a web of life, where everything is connected, where the actions of one can affect the whole, and they use this knowledge to maintain the balance, to ensure that the forest remains healthy, strong, and alive. For the witches of the forest, magic is not something that is separate from the world, it is the world. It is the trees, the plants, the animals, the earth, the air, the water. It is the life force that flows through everything, that connects everything, that sustains everything. These witches understand that to use magic is to work with the natural world, to respect it, to honor it, to live in harmony with it. But the forest is not always a place of peace and serenity. It can be a place of danger, of darkness, of fear. The witches of the forest know this too, and they respect it. They know that the forest can be as cruel as it is kind, as deadly as it is life-giving. They know that to enter the forest is to step into another world, a world where the rules of civilization do not apply, where the wild things rule, where the spirits of the earth hold sway. They know that the forest can be a place of great power, but also of great peril. And yet, despite the dangers, the witches of the forest find their home here. For them, the forest is a place of freedom, of connection, of magic. It is a place where they can be themselves, where they can connect with the natural world, where they can draw on the power of the earth, the trees, the animals, the spirits. It is a place where they can live in harmony with the world, where they can use their magic to protect, to heal, to guide. The forest is a place of mysticism, of magic, of wonder. It is a place where the boundaries between the seen and the unseen blur, where the natural world and the spiritual world come together, where the witches of the forest find their power, their home, their place in the world. It is a place of endless possibility, of endless mystery, of endless magic. And for the witches of the forest, it is a place of endless power, a place where they can connect with the world in a way that is both ancient and new, both magical and real, both beautiful and terrifying. Beneath the surface of the ocean, where the light fades and the waters grow cold, there is a world unlike any other. It's a world of endless depths, of shifting tides, of creatures that glide silently through the dark. The ocean is a place of mystery, a place where the boundaries between the known and the unknown dissolve into the abyss. It is here, in the heart of the ocean, that the magic of the sea comes alive. The ocean has always been a source of awe and fear, a vast expanse that can both nurture and destroy. Its waves carry stories of old, whispered by the wind and echoed in the depths. For those who live by the sea, the ocean is a living entity, a force of nature that demands respect, that offers its gifts with one hand and takes them away with the other. It is no wonder that the ocean has given rise to some of the most powerful and enchanting witches in folklore. These ocean witches are as changeable as the sea itself. They draw their strength from the water, from the ebb and flow of the tides, from the currents that pull and push beneath the surface. They are the guardians of the ocean's secrets, the keepers of its magic. To the unknowing eye, they might appear as ordinary women, but beneath the surface, their power is immense, as boundless as the ocean they command. Among these ocean witches, the sirens are perhaps the most famous. With voices that could enchant even the strongest of men, the sirens were said to lure sailors to their doom, their songs as irresistible as the pull of the tide. These creatures were not merely beautiful, they were dangerous, embodying the dual nature of the sea. Their voices, sweet as honey, could lead a man to his death, pulling him under the waves, where the cold embrace of the ocean would be his final resting place. But not all ocean witches are malevolent. Some are protectors, guiding those lost at sea, calming the storms that rage across the water. They are the sea spirits, the ones who walk with the waves, who speak the language of the ocean. These witches know the rhythms of the sea, the way the tides rise and fall, the way the moon pulls the water, the way the storms gather strength on the horizon. They can summon the waves to their aid, call forth the rain, command the wind. They are the embodiment of the ocean's power, fierce and unyielding, yet capable of great kindness. In the cold waters of the north, there are tales of selkies, beings who can shed their seal skins and walk on land as humans. But their hearts belong to the sea, and without their skins, they cannot return to the water. These selkies are often caught between two worlds, longing for the ocean even as they walk among men. They are witches in their own right, their magic tied to the sea, their fate bound to the water. The stories of selkies are filled with longing, with loss, with the pull of the ocean that cannot be denied. Then there are the mermaids, the enchanting creatures who live beneath the waves, their lower bodies covered in shimmering scales, their hair flowing like seaweed in the current. Mermaids are often seen as symbols of beauty, of the allure of the unknown. But they too are creatures of the ocean, their moods as unpredictable as the sea itself. In some tales, they are benevolent, offering aid to those in need, guiding ships safely to shore. In others, they are as dangerous as the sirens, dragging sailors down into the depths, where the light never reaches. The ocean witches, the sirens, the selkies, the mermaids, all of them are connected by the water, by the power of the sea. They are part of a world that is as ancient as time itself, a world that exists just out of reach, beneath the waves, where the ocean's magic holds sway. These witches understand the ocean in a way that few can. They know its moods, its secrets, its power. They know that the ocean is both a giver and a taker, a place of life and death, of creation and destruction. The ocean is a place of endless possibility, of mystery, of magic. It is a place where the lines between the human and the supernatural blur, where the power of the water shapes everything it touches. For those who can tap into this power, the ocean offers a wealth of magic, of strength, of beauty. But it is not a power to be taken lightly. The ocean is as wild as it is wondrous, as dangerous as it is beautiful. For the witches of the ocean, this power is their birthright, their inheritance from the sea. They are the daughters of the waves, the keepers of the tides, the ones who understand the true nature of the ocean's magic. They know that the sea is alive, that it breathes, that it has a will of its own. They know that to wield the ocean's power is to walk a fine line between control and surrender, between strength and vulnerability. The ocean witches are the embodiment of the sea's magic, of its mystery, of its endless depth. They are the sirens, the selkies, the mermaids, the sea spirits. They are the ones who walk with the waves, who speak the language of the water, who command the tides. They are the ones who hold the power of the ocean in their hands, who can shape it, bend it, use it to their will. But the ocean's magic is not just about power, it is about connection. It is about the way the water ties everything together, the way the tides pull and push, the way the waves crash against the shore. It is about the way the ocean touches everything, the way it shapes the land, the way it changes the weather, the way it holds the world in its embrace. For the ocean witches, this connection is everything. It is their lifeblood, their magic, their power. They are bound to the sea, tied to it in ways that are as old as time. They are the ocean's daughters, the keepers of its magic, the ones who understand the true nature of the sea. They are the ones who walk with the waves, who speak the language of the water, who command the tides. They are the ocean witches, and their magic is as endless as the sea itself. At the break of dawn, when the world is still shrouded in mist and the first rays of sunlight begin to warm the earth, the mountains stand tall and silent. They pierce the sky, their peaks cloaked in snow or hidden by clouds, their presence both awe-inspiring and humbling. For centuries, these towering giants have been revered not just as natural wonders but as sacred places where the veil between the earthly and the divine is thin. It is in these high places, far from the everyday world, that the mountain witches find their power. The mountains are not just made of rock and stone, they are alive with ancient magic. They hold the wisdom of ages, their very presence a testament to the forces of creation and destruction. To stand before a mountain is to feel a connection to something greater than oneself, something timeless and profound. For the witches who live among these peaks, the mountains are their sacred home, their place of strength, their source of spiritual insight. Mountain witches are as old as the mountains themselves. They are the keepers of ancient rituals, the practitioners of rites that have been passed down through generations. Their magic is intertwined with the very essence of the mountains. They know the hidden paths, the sacred groves, the spots where the energy of the earth flows most strongly. To them, the mountains are not just a backdrop but a living entity, a source of immense power and mystery. In the quiet solitude of the mountains, the witches perform their rituals with a reverence that is both deep and personal. They use the natural features of the landscape in their ceremonies, the crystal-clear streams that flow from hidden springs, the ancient trees that have stood watch for centuries, the rocks and stones that hold the echoes of past rituals. These elements are not just props, they are sacred tools, imbued with the magic of the land. One of the most sacred rituals among mountain witches is the rite of the sunrise. As the first light of day touches the peaks, the witches gather in a place of great power, often on a high ridge or at the edge of a cliff. They stand in silence, feeling the warmth of the sun on their faces, the cool breeze on their skin, the connection to the earth beneath their feet. This is a moment of communion with the divine, a time to honor the cycles of nature and the power of the mountains. The rising sun is seen as a symbol of renewal, of the endless cycle of life and death, of the eternal presence of the mountains. Another important ritual is the offering of stones. The witches gather stones from the surrounding area, each one chosen for its unique shape, color, or energy. These stones are carefully arranged in patterns or piles, each one representing a different aspect of the mountain's magic. The offering of stones is a way of showing respect for the land, of acknowledging the power and presence of the mountains. It is also a way of asking for guidance, for insight, for the blessings of the earth. The rituals of the mountain witches are not always grand or dramatic. Sometimes, they are simple acts of connection, moments of stillness in the midst of the vast wilderness. A mountain witch might spend hours sitting by a stream, listening to the water, feeling the pulse of the earth. She might climb to the highest peak and simply watch the clouds drift by, the world spread out below her. These quiet moments are as powerful as the grand ceremonies, for they are times of deep communion with the land, times of understanding and insight. The mountains are also a place of solitude, of introspection. The high altitudes and rugged terrain create a space where the distractions of the everyday world are left behind, where the mind can focus on the spiritual and the profound. For the mountain witches, this solitude is essential. It allows them to connect with the deeper currents of their magic, to understand the messages of the land, to find their place in the grand tapestry of the world. The power of the mountains is both physical and spiritual. The physical presence of the mountains, their sheer size and majesty, is a constant reminder of the earth's strength and endurance. The spiritual presence, the sense of being connected to something greater, to the divine, is a source of deep inspiration and guidance. The mountain witches understand this duality, and they use it to inform their magic, their rituals, their way of life. In the legends and stories of mountain witches, there are tales of powerful spells and potent charms, of ancient wisdom and hidden knowledge. These stories speak of the witches' ability to harness the power of the mountains, to use it for healing, protection, and insight. They are stories of women who have learned to live in harmony with the land, who have become one with the mountains, who have unlocked the secrets of the earth and the sky. The mountains are a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where the mundane becomes magical. They are a place of power, of mystery, of beauty. For the witches who live among the peaks, the mountains are not just a backdrop to their magic, but a living, breathing partner in their spiritual journey. They are a source of strength and inspiration, a place where the magic of the earth and the divine come together in perfect harmony. At twilight, when the sky blushes with shades of pink and gold, a sense of wonder fills the air. As day surrenders to night, the first stars emerge, shimmering like tiny diamonds scattered across the darkening canvas. In these moments, when the heavens reveal their splendor, the ancient magic of the sky comes to life. For those who know how to look, the sky is not just a vast expanse, but a realm of profound mystery and power. The sky, with its endless horizons and ever-changing moods, has always held a special place in the hearts of those who seek to understand the world. It is a domain of divination and prophecy, a space where the movements of celestial bodies can foretell the future, and where the patterns of clouds can reveal hidden truths. For witches who are drawn to the heavens, the sky is both a guide and a mirror, reflecting the inner workings of the universe and the depth of their own magic. Among these skybound witches are the celestial seers, those who read the stars like an ancient book. With their eyes trained on the heavens, they interpret the positions of the stars and planets, using their knowledge to predict events, to offer guidance, to unravel the mysteries of fate. Their magic is woven into the very fabric of the cosmos, their spells and rituals aligned with the cycles of the moon and the movements of the stars. One such witch might stand on a hilltop at midnight, gazing up at the starry sky. As she tracks the shifting constellations, she senses the connections between the stars and the events unfolding on Earth. Each star, each planet, holds a piece of the puzzle, a fragment of the larger picture. To her, the sky is not just a backdrop but a living, breathing entity, full of signs and symbols waiting to be interpreted. The celestial seer's spells are crafted to harness the power of the stars, to align personal intentions with the cosmic rhythms, to tap into the universal flow of energy. Weather witches are another group intimately connected with the sky. They wield the power to influence the weather, to summon storms, to calm the winds. Their magic is rooted in the understanding of atmospheric patterns and the ability to tune into the vibrations of the sky. With a few whispered words and a flick of the wrist, they can change the course of a storm or bring a gentle rain to parched lands. Their rituals often involve intricate dances, offerings to the sky, and invocations of the elements, all designed to sway the forces of nature in their favor. One such witch might stand in an open field, arms raised to the sky as dark clouds gather overhead. She chants ancient incantations, her voice blending with the growing roar of the wind. As she works her magic, the storm shifts and changes, bending to her will. The rain begins to fall, not in a torrential downpour, but in a steady, gentle shower. For the weather witch, this is not just a display of power, but a way to bring balance, to align with the natural rhythms of the earth, to offer a gift to the world. The sky is also a place of transformation, of spiritual awakening. For witches who practice astral projection, the heavens are a gateway to other realms. As they meditate and reach out with their spiritual senses, they travel beyond the physical limits of their bodies, exploring the vast expanse of the cosmos. They might find themselves floating among the stars, traveling to distant galaxies, or meeting with celestial beings. These experiences offer insights and revelations that shape their magic, their understanding of the universe, and their connection to the divine. The phases of the moon hold a special significance for these witches. Each phase, from the new moon to the full moon to the waning crescent, carries its own energy and meaning. Rituals are timed to coincide with these phases, with each offering a different kind of magic. The new moon is a time for new beginnings, for setting intentions. The full moon is a moment of culmination, of illumination, when the light of the moon reveals hidden truths. The waning moon is a time for release, for letting go of what no longer serves. For the witches who work with the moon, these phases are not just times to perform rituals, but moments to align their own energies with the larger cosmic cycles. In the early morning, as the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, the sky is a canvas of shifting colors, a prelude to the new day. The witches of the sky watch as the sun rises, their magic intertwined with the daily rhythms of the heavens. They understand that the sky is not a static entity but a dynamic, ever-changing force, full of potential and possibility. Their spells and rituals are designed to harness this energy, to align with the cosmic flow, to draw on the power of the stars and the sun, the wind and the rain. For these witches, the sky is both a source of wonder and a place of deep connection. It is a realm of divination and prophecy, where the patterns of the stars and the movements of the clouds reveal the hidden truths of the world. It is a space where weather and celestial bodies come together in a dance of magic and mystery. It is a place where the boundary between the earthly and the divine fades, where the power of the cosmos can be tapped and understood. The sky is their guide, their canvas, their source of inspiration and power. In the heart of Africa, where the land stretches wide and the sky meets the earth in a breathtaking expanse, magic pulses through the very fabric of existence. Here, in the vibrant tapestry of life, the elemental forces of nature are not just seen but felt in every breath, every heartbeat. African witchcraft, rich with history and tradition, is deeply intertwined with the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, and is guided by nature spirits that dwell in the natural world. In the dense rainforests, where the air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the cries of hidden creatures, the magic of the earth element thrives. African witches, known as herbalists or shamans, work with the land in profound ways. They know the hidden paths through the forest, the secret places where the earth's energy is strongest. Their knowledge of herbs and plants, passed down through generations, is not just about healing, It's about connecting with the spirit of the land, about understanding the language of the trees and the whispers of the leaves. They can call on the spirits of the forest to aid in their rituals, asking for blessings or protection, invoking the power of the earth to heal and to guide. Among the towering baobab trees, ancient and wise, the earth's magic is palpable. These trees, often called the tree of life, stand as silent guardians of the land. For many African witches, the baobab is more than just a tree, it is a living being, a source of strength and wisdom. Rituals performed around these trees are filled with reverence and respect, as the witches tap into the earth's deep power, asking for the strength and endurance that the baobab symbolizes. Water, too, is a vital element in African witchcraft. The rivers and lakes, flowing with life-giving force, are considered sacred and alive. Water spirits, known as mamiwata or river gods, are revered and honored in various rituals. These spirits are believed to dwell in the waters, influencing both the flow of the rivers and the lives of the people who live by them. African witches often seek the guidance of these spirits, asking for their blessings for fertility, prosperity, and protection. Rituals may include offerings of shells, beads, or other sacred items cast into the water, creating a bridge between the human world and the spirit realm. Fire, with its intense heat and transformative power, is another element that holds great significance in African witchcraft. Fire is seen as a symbol of purification, transformation, and energy. In the glow of a fire's light, witches perform ceremonies that mark important life events, from births and marriages to deaths and comings of age. The flames are believed to carry prayers and wishes to the divine, to cleanse and to renew. As the fire crackles and dances, it creates a powerful connection between the physical and spiritual worlds, drawing on its raw energy to fuel rituals and to bring about change. In the open skies above, the air element weaves its own magic. The winds carry stories from far-off places, their whispers holding secrets of distant lands and unseen forces. African witches listen to the winds, interpreting their messages and using their power to influence the world around them. Air spirits are often called upon for guidance and wisdom, their presence felt in the gentle breeze or the powerful gusts that sweep across the plains. Rituals involving the air element might include dancing with the winds, chanting to stir the spirits, or using feathers and other symbols of air in ceremonies. Nature spirits, essential to African witchcraft, are the unseen forces that inhabit the natural world. These spirits, believed to be present in every rock, tree, river, and breeze, play a central role in the practices of African witches. They are not just abstract concepts, but are considered active participants in the spiritual life of the community. Witches communicate with these spirits through offerings, prayers, and rituals, seeking their favor and guidance. The spirits are seen as protectors of the land, guardians of sacred knowledge, and mediators between the human world and the divine. In the vibrant communities of Africa, where traditions and beliefs are passed from generation to generation, the elemental forces and nature spirits are deeply respected. The rituals and practices of African witchcraft are not just about personal power, but about maintaining harmony with the natural world. They reflect a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, of the way that the elements and spirits shape and influence life. As the sun sets over the African landscape, casting long shadows and painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, the magic of the elements continues to thrive. The earth, the water, the fire, and the air all come together in a dance of energy and spirit. For the witches who live in this rich and vibrant world, the elements are more than just forces of nature, they are companions, guides, and sources of profound wisdom. Through their connection with the elements and the nature spirits, African witches keep alive a tradition of magic that is as ancient as the land itself. In the misty hills of ancient Britain, where the fog rolls over the verdant landscape and the whispering woods seem to hold ancient secrets, Celtic magic weaves through the very fabric of the land. The Celts, with their deep connection to nature, saw the world as a living tapestry of spirits and forces. Their magic was not a mere practice, but a profound way of life, intricately linked to the rhythms of the earth and the mysteries of the water. To the Celts, nature was not a backdrop, but an active participant in their spiritual practices. The earth was revered as a living entity, imbued with its own spirit and energy. The forests, fields, and rivers were seen as sacred, each possessing its own unique magic. Celtic earth witches, or druids, were the custodians of this magic. They understood that to harness the power of the land, one had to live in harmony with it, respecting its rhythms and honoring its spirits. Among the towering oak trees and ancient stone circles, Celtic earth magic was practiced with reverence and care. The oak, especially, was held in high esteem, seen as a symbol of strength and wisdom. The Druids would gather in groves of oak trees to perform their rituals, feeling the deep connection between the earth and the sky. These rituals often involved offerings of food, drink, and sacred objects placed at the base of the trees, a gesture of gratitude and respect for the land's bounty. The earth's magic was seen as both nurturing and powerful, capable of healing, protecting, and guiding those who sought its aid. Water, too, played a central role in Celtic magic. The Celts saw rivers, springs, and lakes as sacred places where the veil between the earthly and the divine was thin. These bodies of water were believed to be inhabited by powerful spirits and deities. The wellspring of life, the river that flowed endlessly, and the still, deep lakes were all revered as sources of mystical energy. Water witches, or those who practiced magic with a focus on the element of water, would often perform their rituals by these sacred sites, drawing on the water's purity and flow to enhance their spells. One of the most revered figures in Celtic mythology is the goddess Brigid, a deity associated with healing, fertility, and the hearth. Brigid's connection to water and the earth was profound. Her sacred wells were believed to have healing powers, and her festivals often centered around the turning of the seasons and the cycles of the moon. The rituals dedicated to Brigid would involve offerings of milk, honey, and other gifts, placed by the holy wells and springs, as a way of honoring her and seeking her blessings. These offerings were not just symbolic but were believed to invoke Brigid's presence and draw on her divine energy. The ancient stories are filled with tales of magical transformations and divine interventions that underscore the Celtic belief in the interconnection between nature and magic. One such tale tells of the goddess Bone, who, in her quest for sacred knowledge, disturbed the well of wisdom. As a result, the water of the well burst forth, creating the river Boyne. Bone's story illustrates the power of water to both bestow and transform, a theme central to Celtic magic. The river, flowing through the landscape, became a living embodiment of the goddess's power and a source of inspiration and reverence. In the heart of the forests, where the trees whisper secrets and the air is thick with ancient magic, Celtic earth witches practiced their craft with a deep respect for the land. They understood that the natural world was not just a source of resources but a partner in their spiritual practices. Their rituals often involved walking barefoot on the earth, feeling the connection between their own energy and that of the land. They would gather herbs and plants, using them in potions and spells, knowing that each plant carried its own unique energy and properties. The Celts also celebrated the changing seasons, marking the solstices and equinoxes with elaborate festivals and rituals. These celebrations were a way of honoring the cycles of nature, acknowledging the changes in the earth's energy, and aligning their own lives with the rhythms of the natural world. The festivals often included dances, feasts, and ceremonies that honored the gods and goddesses of the land, paying tribute to the earth's fertility and abundance. As twilight falls and the first stars begin to twinkle in the sky, the ancient magic of the Celts lives on in the whispers of the wind and the rustle of the leaves. The rituals and practices of Celtic earth and water witches continue to resonate with the timeless energy of the land. Their deep connection to nature, their reverence for the sacred places, and their understanding of the magic that flows through the earth and water remind us of the profound bond between the natural world and the spiritual realm. In the quiet moments of reflection, beneath the ancient oaks and by the sacred springs, the essence of Celtic nature magic endures, a testament to a time when the world was seen as a living, breathing entity, filled with wonder and mystery. In the heart of the American wilderness, where the land stretches wide and the sky seems endless, magic pulses through every rock, river, and star. Indigenous American traditions, with their deep connection to nature, embody a profound understanding of elemental magic. Here, the earth and sky are not mere backdrops but living, breathing entities that shape the world and influence the lives of those who revere them. Shamans, the spiritual leaders and healers of indigenous cultures, walk a path of deep communion with the natural world. Their magic is a dance with the elements, a harmonious blend of earth and sky that sustains and nurtures their communities. Shamans are not just practitioners of magic, they are the keepers of ancient wisdom, the bridge between the human world and the spirit realm. In the midst of the vast plains and dense forests, the earth holds a sacred place in the lives of indigenous peoples. For many tribes, the land is seen as a living entity, imbued with spirit and power. The soil beneath their feet, the stones scattered across the ground, and the trees that tower overhead all hold deep significance. Shamans often perform rituals on the land, tapping into its energy to heal, to foresee future events, or to communicate with the spirit world. They gather herbs and plants, not just for their physical properties, but for their spiritual significance. Each plant is considered a living being with its own spirit, capable of offering guidance, protection, or insight. The connection to the earth is also reflected in the creation stories and legends that weave through indigenous cultures. These stories speak of the land as a gift from the Creator, a sacred space that must be honored and cared for. In these narratives, the earth is not just a source of sustenance but a partner in the spiritual journey of life. The rituals and ceremonies that take place on the land are acts of reverence, acknowledging the gifts it provides and seeking to maintain a balance between humans and nature. The sky, too, holds a place of reverence in indigenous American traditions. The celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the stars, are seen as powerful forces that influence the rhythms of life. Shamans and sky witches use the movements of these celestial bodies to guide their practices and rituals. The phases of the moon, for instance, are considered to have specific energies that can be harnessed for different purposes. Full moons are times of illumination and insight, while new moons are moments for new beginnings and setting intentions. The sun, with its life-giving warmth and light, is often associated with the Creator or powerful deities. In many traditions, the sun is seen as a source of spiritual energy, a force that sustains and nurtures all life. Rituals performed in the light of the sun or during sunrise and sunset are imbued with a special significance, as they align with the natural cycles and honor the sun's role in the world. The stars, too, are a source of guidance and inspiration. Indigenous peoples often look to the night sky for signs and omens, interpreting the patterns of constellations to gain insight into their lives and the world around them. The stories told about the stars reflect their importance in the spiritual and cultural practices of indigenous cultures. These stories are passed down through generations, keeping the connection between the earth and sky alive and vibrant. One powerful example of this connection is the way indigenous shamans use the elements in their healing practices. When a person is ill or in need of spiritual guidance, the shaman might perform a ritual that incorporates both earth and sky elements. They might use stones or soil in their rituals, combining them with the light of the moon or the warmth of a fire. This integration of elements reflects a deep understanding of their interconnection, using the combined forces to bring about healing and balance. In ceremonies and rites of passage, the elements play a crucial role. These rituals often involve the use of sacred objects, such as feathers, stones, and ceremonial tools, that are imbued with the power of the earth and sky. The participants may call upon the spirits of the land and the celestial beings, seeking their blessings and guidance. These ceremonies are not just symbolic, they are acts of deep spiritual communion, designed to align the participants with the natural and spiritual worlds. The sense of connection between earth and sky in indigenous American traditions is a testament to the profound respect and reverence these cultures have for the natural world. It is a reminder that the land and the sky are not separate from human life, but are integral to it. Through their rituals, stories, and practices, indigenous peoples maintain a harmonious relationship with the elements, honoring their power and acknowledging their role in the spiritual and physical aspects of life. As the sun sets over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the land, the magic of the earth and sky continues to resonate. The traditions and practices of indigenous American cultures remind us of the deep bond between humans and the natural world. In the quiet moments of reflection, under the expansive sky and on the sacred earth, the elemental magic of these traditions endures, a testament to a time when the world was seen as a living, interconnected web of spirit and life. In the ancient landscapes of China and Japan, where the mountains touch the sky and rivers carve through the earth, elemental sorcery weaves through the fabric of magic and tradition. Here, the elements are not just forces of nature but living presences that shape the world and guide the lives of those who honor them. In China, the elemental forces are deeply intertwined with the philosophy and practice of magic. The five elements, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, are more than mere physical substances. They are fundamental forces that govern the natural world and the human spirit. Each element represents a different aspect of life and is connected to specific practices and deities. Fire, with its intense energy and transformative power, is a symbol of passion and change. Water, flowing and adaptable, represents healing and wisdom. Chinese witches, or practitioners of traditional Chinese magic, harness these elemental forces in their rituals and practices. Fire witches, for instance, work with the energy of flames to ignite transformation and drive away negative influences. They might use fire in their ceremonies to purify spaces, to banish bad luck, or to awaken powerful energies. The flicker of a candle or the blaze of a ceremonial fire becomes a conduit for change, channeling the fiery spirit into their magical work. Water witches in China are known for their deep connection to rivers, lakes, and the sea. They invoke the power of water to heal, to flow with the rhythms of life, and to bring about renewal. Rituals by the water's edge are performed to cleanse and purify, to seek guidance from water deities, and to harness the fluid energy of this element. Water is seen as a source of both physical and spiritual nourishment, and its magic is used to restore balance and harmony. In Japan, the elemental magic is also rich with symbolism and tradition. The Shinto religion, with its reverence for nature and the kami, or spirits, reflects the deep connection between the natural world and spiritual practice. Fire, water, and natural elements play a central role in Shinto rituals, with each element representing different aspects of the divine. Fire, in Japanese magic, is often associated with the kami of the hearth and the home. The sacred fire, or hai, is used in rituals to purify and to bless. Japanese witches might light ceremonial fires to invoke the spirit of the flame, asking for protection, guidance, and the removal of obstacles. The fire's warmth and light are seen as manifestations of divine presence, bringing both comfort and clarity. Water holds a special place in Japanese magic as well. The purity of water is highly valued, and sacred springs and rivers are considered to be the abodes of kami. Japanese witches perform cleansing rituals in these holy waters to purify themselves and their surroundings. The act of washing with water is not just about physical cleanliness, but about spiritual renewal and the washing away of negativity. Natural elements are revered in Japanese practices, with the landscape itself being seen as sacred. Mountains, forests, and even individual trees are believed to be inhabited by kami. Rituals performed in these natural settings are meant to honor the spirits of the land and to seek their favor. The practice of shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, reflects the deep connection between humans and the natural world, where the act of immersing oneself in nature is believed to bring spiritual and physical healing. The stories and myths of Chinese and Japanese elemental sorcery are filled with powerful beings and deities who embody these elements. In Chinese mythology, the dragon is a prominent figure associated with water and rain, its presence believed to control the flow of rivers and the fertility of the land. Japanese folklore speaks of powerful spirits like the Tengu, who are guardians of the mountains and forests, embodying the fierce and protective aspects of nature. These stories remind us that the elements are not just passive forces, but active participants in the magical and spiritual life of these cultures. The rituals and practices of Chinese and Japanese witches reflect a profound understanding of the elements as living entities that influence and shape the world. As the sun rises over the ancient temples and the rivers flow steadily through the landscapes, the elemental magic of China and Japan continues to resonate. The connection between the earth, fire, water, and the natural world is not just a part of history but a living tradition that guides and sustains the lives of those who honor it. The practices of these witches, their reverence for the elements, and their deep connection to the natural world are a testament to a time when magic and nature were seen as intertwined, each influencing and enhancing the other. In the rugged, windswept landscapes of ancient Scandinavia, where icy fjords meet dense forests and the northern lights dance across the sky, Norse magic pulses through the veins of the earth and the air. Here, the ancient art of seer and the wisdom of the Volva, powerful practitioners of magic, reveal a world where nature and mystical forces intertwine in a captivating dance of elemental power. Seer, a form of Norse sorcery, is a practice deeply rooted in the elements. It was wielded by the Psychona, or female practitioners, who were believed to have the ability to see beyond the veil of reality. These witches, often revered and feared, tapped into the raw, primal forces of nature to perform their magic. The power of seer was closely linked with the elemental forces, earth, water, fire, and air, and was used for divination, healing, and shaping fate. In the chill of the Norse winter, where the snow blankets the land and the wind howls through the mountains, the magic of the Psychona came alive. They would gather in secluded groves or sacred sites, invoking the spirits of the land. The earth, covered in frost and silence, was seen as a source of deep, ancient power. The Psychona would perform their rituals by the light of the moon or the fire's glow, drawing on the earth's strength to guide their spells and divinations. The seer rituals often involve trance-like states, where the Psychona would enter a deep, meditative journey to connect with the elemental spirits. They would call upon the earth's energy, feeling its vibrations and using its power to see into the future or to communicate with the spirits. The rituals were performed with reverence, acknowledging the land's sacredness and its role in their magical practices. The Volva, another key figure in Norse magic, were respected sorceresses and priestesses who also wielded elemental power. They were known for their ability to interpret the will of the gods and to perform rituals that balanced the forces of nature. The Volva's wisdom was sought in times of crisis, as their deep connection with the elements made them powerful intermediaries between the mortal world and the divine. In the Norse myths, the Volva's role is often depicted in dramatic and poignant tales. They were seen as keepers of ancient knowledge, able to summon the forces of nature and harness them for their purposes. One of the most famous stories involves the Volva in the Voluspa, a key poem from the Old Norse epic, the Poetic Edda. In this poem, the Volva reveals the creation and destruction of the world, a narrative deeply entwined with the elements, earth, fire, and ice. Her prophecy paints a vivid picture of a world in flux, where the elemental forces shape the fate of gods and men alike. The elemental powers of the Volva and the Psychona were not just abstract concepts, but lived realities. Fire, for instance, was seen as both a force of destruction and transformation. The Norse understood fire's dual nature, the way it could both ravage and renew. Rituals involving fire were performed to invoke its cleansing power, to burn away the old and make way for the new. The Psychona and Volva used fire in their rites to bring about change, to forge new paths, and to protect their communities from harm. Water, too, played a significant role in Norse magic. The rivers and lakes were seen as sacred, home to powerful spirits and deities. The Psychona and Volva would perform rituals by the water's edge, using the fluidity and purity of water to enhance their spells and to seek guidance from the spirits. Water was believed to carry messages from the divine, and its ability to flow and change was seen as a reflection of the ever-shifting nature of fate. The wind, with its ability to move unseen and unbidden, was another key element in Norse magic. The Psychona and Volva would harness the wind's energy to travel between worlds, to deliver messages, and to influence the forces of nature. The wind's power was both awe-inspiring and humbling, a reminder of the vast and unpredictable forces that shaped their world. The earth itself was a central element in Norse magic. The land was seen as a living entity, imbued with its own spirit and power. The Cycona and Vulva honored the earth in their rituals, acknowledging its role in sustaining life and guiding their magic. They understood that to harness the earth's power, one had to live in harmony with it, to respect its cycles and its mysteries. As the northern lights cast their ethereal glow across the icy landscape, the magic of the seer and the vulva continues to resonate. Their practices, deeply rooted in the elemental forces of nature, remind us of the profound connection between humans and the natural world. The rituals, the stories, and the elemental magic of the Norse witches capture a world where the earth, water, fire, and air are not just elements but living, breathing forces that shape fate and guide the spirit. In the heart of ancient forests and atop misty mountains, where the land breathes and the sky whispers secrets, there exists a quiet, yet profound magic. This magic is wielded by those who walk the path of the elemental witches, guardians of balance in a world where nature's harmony hangs by a thread. These witches are the unsung heroes who mend the fractures in the natural order, restoring peace where chaos once reigned. One such guardian was a witch named Ilara, living in the lush, green expanses of a vast forest. Her people had always known her as the keeper of the woodlands, a figure who could calm raging storms and bring rain to parched lands. The forest thrived under her care, its trees whispering gratitude and its animals moving with a grace that spoke of harmony. One year, the balance was shattered. A fierce drought gripped the land, leaving the forest parched and the rivers dry. The once vibrant green leaves turned brittle and brown, and the animals grew gaunt, their cries for relief echoing through the barren woods. The villagers, desperate and disheartened, turned to Ilara, hoping she could restore the delicate equilibrium that had been lost. Ilara understood the gravity of the situation. The drought was not just a matter of physical imbalance, but a sign of deeper disturbances in the natural order. She embarked on a solitary journey to the heart of the forest, where the ancient trees stood as silent witnesses to the land's suffering. With each step, she felt the earth's distress, a palpable sadness that weighed heavily on her spirit. She set up a small altar under the great oak tree, its branches stretching out as if to shelter her in her quest. With quiet determination, Ilara began her ritual. She called upon the spirits of the forest, her voice a soothing murmur in the stillness. Her hands, skilled and gentle, worked with the soil, mixing herbs and sacred stones to create a potion that could restore balance. As she chanted ancient incantations, the air around her seemed to shimmer with a soft light. Ilara poured the potion into the dry riverbeds, letting it seep into the cracked earth. The magic of the potion was not just in its ingredients, but in the love and intention she infused into it. Each drop was a plea for the return of harmony, a promise to heal the land. The process was slow, and hope was fragile. Days turned into weeks, with Ilara remaining in the forest, a steadfast guardian against the relentless drought. The villagers brought offerings of food and water, their faces etched with concern and gratitude. They knew that Ilara's efforts were their last, best hope. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a miracle began to unfold. The sky, once barren and cloudless, started to gather dark, heavy clouds. A soft rumble of thunder filled the air, and then, as if answering Ilara's call, rain began to fall. It was gentle at first, a delicate touch upon the earth, but soon it grew into a steady, nourishing downpour. The forest, once desolate, began to awaken. The trees, quenching their thirst, unfurled their leaves with renewed vigor. The rivers, now filled with life-giving water, flowed with a joyful rush. Animals emerged from their hiding places, their eyes wide with relief and wonder. The land, touched by the rain, transformed from a picture of despair to one of vibrant life. Ilara watched, tears streaming down her cheeks, as the forest came back to life. Her heart swelled with a profound sense of fulfillment and peace. The delicate balance had been restored, not through force or power, but through an unwavering dedication to the harmony of nature. The spirits of the forest, once troubled, now sang with gratitude, their voices mingling with the rustling of the leaves and the babbling of the newly revived rivers. Stories of Ilara's bravery and compassion spread among the villagers. They spoke of her not just as a witch, but as a guardian of balance, a protector of their world's delicate equilibrium. They celebrated her not with grand gestures, but with a deep, heartfelt respect for the magic she had restored. The forest flourished once more, a living testament to the power of balance and the enduring spirit of its guardian. In other parts of the world, similar tales echo through the ages. The water witches of ancient cultures who healed drought-stricken lands, the earth witches who mended the cracks in the ground after earthquakes, and the air witches who calmed fierce storms, all these stories share a common thread. They are about the witches who stand as the custodians of nature's balance, their magic a vital force in a world where harmony is often fragile and fleeting. These witches, through their tireless efforts and deep connection to the elements, remind us of the profound impact that balance has on the world. Their stories are a tribute to the power of nature's guardians, who work quietly but tirelessly to ensure that the forces of the earth, water, fire, and air remain in harmony. The crackle of flames and the murmur of darkened whispers mark a tragic chapter in history where fear and misunderstanding turned elemental magic into a source of dread. It was a time when the power of nature, once revered and respected, became a target of suspicion and hostility. The persecution of elemental witches was not just an assault on individuals, but an attack on a deep, ancient connection between people and the natural world. In the depths of the European witch hunts, elemental witches faced relentless persecution. These were individuals who, with a profound understanding of nature, worked to maintain harmony between humans and the earth. They were healers, wise women, and guardians who used their knowledge of the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, to guide and protect their communities. But fear of the unknown led to a cruel irony. As the power of elemental magic became associated with malevolence, those who practiced it were accused of dark sorcery and consorting with evil forces. The trials that followed were a heart-wrenching testament to the extent of human cruelty and ignorance. Innocent lives were shattered as the very elements they cherished were used as weapons against them. Take, for example, the infamous witch trials of the 16th and 17th centuries. In Salem, Massachusetts, the fear of witches led to a frenzy of accusations and executions. The very idea that someone could harness the power of nature became twisted into a mark of danger. Women and men who were seen as keepers of elemental knowledge were accused of casting spells and consorting with the devil. Their homes, once safe havens of herbal remedies and folk wisdom, were turned into sites of suspicion and dread. Accusations were often fueled by a mix of jealousy, superstition, and a desperate need to find scapegoats for inexplicable events. When crops failed, when storms ravaged towns, or when disease struck, the blame was often placed on those who were believed to wield elemental magic. The wisdom of these witches was misunderstood and vilified, leading to brutal interrogations and public executions. One of the most poignant stories comes from the trials in Würzburg and Bamberg in the early 17th century, where hundreds were accused of witchcraft. These trials are among the largest and deadliest witch trials in history. The accused, many of whom were knowledgeable about local herbs and natural remedies, were tortured into confessions. The element they had once used for healing became a tool of their undoing. The forests, rivers, and mountains that were their sources of strength were now symbols of their supposed pact with darkness. In many cases, the persecution was a direct assault on nature itself. The witch hunts devastated communities and disrupted the delicate balance between humans and the natural world. The fear of elemental magic led to the loss of valuable knowledge about plants, healing practices, and the natural cycles that had sustained people for generations. The land, once rich with the knowledge and practice of elemental sorcery, became scarred by the fires of intolerance and cruelty. The impact of these trials extended far beyond the immediate violence. The fear of elemental magic became deeply ingrained in societal attitudes. The idea of witchcraft as something dangerous and evil persisted, overshadowing the ancient respect for nature's power. The legacy of these persecutions is still felt today, as the knowledge of elemental witches was lost and their contributions to understanding nature's balance were overshadowed by a dark chapter in history. The persecution of elemental witches was not just about individual lives lost, but about the erosion of a profound connection between people and the natural world. The fear and misunderstanding that led to these trials extinguished a rich tradition of harmony with nature. The elemental witches, who had once been the custodians of this ancient knowledge, became victims of a tragic ignorance that has left a lingering impact on how we view nature and magic. As the embers of these dark times fade, the stories of those who were persecuted stand as a powerful reminder of the need to honor and understand the profound relationship between humanity and the natural world. The elemental witches, through their suffering, remind us of the fragility of knowledge and the importance of embracing, rather than fearing, the deep and mystical connection that binds us to the earth. In the quiet corners of ancient forests and the sacred spaces of old, where the wind whispers and the earth breathes, there existed a world where gender played a crucial role in the practice of elemental witchcraft. Here, the power of nature was not just a force to be harnessed, but a deeply personal connection that reflected the complexities of gender and the roles assigned to men and women in the magical traditions of old. In many cultures, women were often seen as the primary practitioners of elemental witchcraft. They were the keepers of ancient knowledge, using their connection to the natural world to heal, to guide, and to maintain balance. The roles they played in elemental witchcraft were deeply intertwined with their societal roles as nurturers, healers, and caretakers. Their association with the earth, water, and other elements was not just symbolic but a reflection of their perceived role in maintaining life and nurturing growth. In the ancient forests of Europe, women known as wise women or hedge witches were revered for their deep knowledge of the natural world. They understood the rhythms of the earth and the healing properties of plants. Their magic was rooted in the earth, and their rituals often centered around fertility, growth, and protection. The earth was seen as a nurturing mother, and these women, with their intimate knowledge of its cycles, were its stewards. They used their understanding of the elements to mend, heal, and guide their communities. Similarly, in the cultures of North America, women practiced elemental magic in harmony with the land. Native American women, as shamans and healers, held sacred knowledge of the elements and their spiritual significance. Their practices involved deep reverence for nature and were integral to their community's spiritual and physical well-being. Water, for instance, was a symbol of life and renewal, and women performed rituals to ensure its purity and abundance. However, the role of gender in elemental witchcraft was not always so straightforward. Men also played significant roles in these traditions, though their associations with the elements often differed from those of women. In many cultures, men who practiced elemental magic were often seen as warriors or leaders, their magic reflecting their roles as protectors and guides. Their connection to the elements was sometimes more focused on the active, dynamic aspects of nature, such as fire and air. In the Celtic traditions, for example, men were often associated with the more assertive elements like fire and air. Fire, with its transformative and destructive power, was seen as a symbol of strength and vitality. Men who practiced fire magic were often viewed as powerful figures, capable of wielding the intense energy of flames to protect their communities or to bring about change. Air, with its swift and unseen currents, was linked to communication and vision. Men who worked with air might have been involved in divination or in guiding the spiritual journey of their people. In ancient Greece, male witches, or magicians, were often linked with the elemental forces of the sky and the earth. The Greek god Hermes, associated with air and communication, and the Titan Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods, are examples of how men were connected with these powerful elements. Their roles in elemental witchcraft reflected their positions as mediators between the divine and the mortal, using their understanding of the elements to influence both realms. Despite these different associations, both men and women in elemental witchcraft shared a profound respect for the natural world. Their practices, while influenced by gendered roles, were united in their reverence for the elements and their belief in the power of nature. The gender dynamics in elemental witchcraft were not about superiority or exclusion, but about the diverse ways in which different genders connected with and harnessed the forces of nature. The history of elemental witchcraft reveals a rich tapestry of gender roles and elemental associations. Women, with their deep connection to the earth and its nurturing properties, used their knowledge to heal and protect. Men, with their focus on the dynamic and transformative elements, guided and defended. Both played essential roles in maintaining the balance between the human and natural worlds. The legacy of these practices is a testament to the intricate ways in which gender and elemental magic intersected. It highlights the importance of understanding and respecting the diverse roles that individuals played in the spiritual and magical traditions of old. The practices of elemental witchcraft, with their deep connection to nature and their reflection of gender roles, remind us of the complex and beautiful ways in which humanity has sought to understand and harmonize with the world around us. In the bustling streets of modern cities and the quiet corners of suburban neighborhoods, a new wave of elemental witchcraft is sweeping through contemporary culture. It's as if the whispers of ancient magic have found their way into the hearts and minds of people today, breathing life into old traditions and giving them a fresh, vibrant energy. The resurgence of elemental witchcraft in modern times reflects a deep yearning for connection with nature and the mystical forces that shape our world. This modern movement is not just about practicing ancient rituals, but about reclaiming and reimagining the ways in which we interact with the elements. People are turning to the ancient arts of earth, water, fire, and air to find balance, meaning, and power in their lives. In many ways, this revival is a response to the fast-paced, technology-driven world we live in. The natural elements offer a sense of grounding and perspective, a reminder of the rhythms and cycles that govern our existence. Earth magic, with its focus on growth and stability, provides a counterbalance to the transient nature of modern life. Water magic, with its fluidity and adaptability, speaks to the need for emotional resilience. Fire magic, with its transformative power, inspires change and passion. Air magic, with its connection to thought and communication, offers clarity and insight. Across the globe, people are integrating elemental magic into their daily lives in creative and meaningful ways. Rituals and practices once confined to ancient texts and historical records are being adapted for the present day. Modern witches perform ceremonies under the light of the full moon, craft potions with herbs from their gardens, and connect with the spirits of nature in ways that honor both tradition and innovation. This resurgence is also reflected in popular culture, where elemental witches have become prominent figures in books, movies, and television shows. Characters wielding the power of earth, water, fire, and air captivate audiences with their strength, wisdom, and complexity. These portrayals are not just entertainment but a way of exploring and expressing the elemental magic that resonates deeply with people today. In popular media, elemental witches are often depicted as powerful, independent figures who harness the elements to achieve their goals. They are shown as protectors of the natural world, using their magic to heal, to fight against darkness, and to restore balance. These representations offer a glimpse into the ways in which elemental magic can be a force for good, empowering individuals to make a positive impact on the world. One of the most beloved representations of elemental witches can be found in the fantasy genre. Characters like the Earth Witch who tends to enchanted forests, the Water Witch who controls the tides, the Fire Witch who can ignite and extinguish flames with a thought, and the Air Witch who commands the winds and the skies are staples in fantasy literature. These characters embody the timeless allure of elemental magic and capture the imagination of readers and viewers alike. In addition to fiction, contemporary spirituality has embraced elemental witchcraft with a renewed sense of reverence. Modern practitioners often create altars dedicated to each element, perform rituals to honor the changing seasons, and use elemental symbols to guide their spiritual practices. This resurgence reflects a broader cultural shift towards exploring and integrating ancient wisdom into contemporary life. The modern fascination with elemental witches is not merely about escapism or fantasy. It's a heartfelt response to a deep-seated need for connection and meaning in an increasingly complex world. Elemental magic offers a way to reconnect with the natural world, to find harmony within ourselves, and to tap into the ancient forces that have always been a part of our existence. In this new era, elemental witches are not just figures of the past, but vibrant symbols of a future where magic and nature are intertwined. They represent a bridge between ancient wisdom and contemporary life, showing us that the elements are not just remnants of forgotten traditions, but living forces that continue to shape and enrich our lives. The resurgence of elemental witchcraft in modern culture is a testament to the enduring power and relevance of these ancient practices. It reminds us that the magic of the elements is not confined to the past, but is a vital, living part of our present and future. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the elemental witches of today offer a guiding light, helping us to find balance, purpose, and connection in a world that often feels disconnected and fleeting. In the whisper of the wind and the murmur of the forest, the magic of elemental witches endures, a timeless echo of humanity's profound connection to nature. The legacy of these witches, who once danced with the elements of earth, water, fire, and air, continues to shape our world in ways both visible and subtle. The ancient stories of elemental witches have not merely survived, they have thrived. Passed down through generations, these tales are woven into the fabric of folklore, infusing our cultural memory with a reverence for the natural world. Every legend of a witch who could command the storm, heal the land, or summon the flames holds a piece of humanity's collective soul, a reminder of our deep bond with the elements. In the quiet moments of dawn, when the sky blushes with the first light of day, the influence of elemental witches can still be felt. The rituals they performed, the wisdom they imparted, and the respect they had for nature are reflected in modern spirituality. People today, in their search for meaning and balance, often find themselves drawn to the elemental forces that these witches revered. Consider the modern practice of creating altars dedicated to the elements. People arrange symbols of earth, water, fire, and air on their altars, not merely as decoration, but as a way to connect with the energies these elements represent. Each element is honored for its unique qualities: earth for its grounding stability, water for its emotional depth, fire for its transformative power, and air for its clarity and communication. This practice is a living tribute to the elemental witches who saw the world through these forces and understood their significance in every aspect of life. In literature and popular culture, the stories of elemental witches continue to captivate and inspire. Characters who wield the power of the elements, whether they summon storms, calm fires, or heal with water, represent more than just fantasy. They embody the ancient respect for nature's forces. These stories remind us of the magic that still flows through the world, echoing the lives and practices of those who came before us. The legacy of elemental witches also extends into the ways people interact with nature today. Many modern practitioners of spirituality draw inspiration from these ancient traditions. They celebrate the changing seasons, honor the cycles of the moon, and work to maintain a harmonious balance with the earth. This connection to nature is not just a nostalgic nod to the past, but a vital practice that continues to resonate with those seeking a deeper understanding of themselves and their place in the world. The impact of elemental witches on modern spirituality is profound. Their teachings about the elements have fostered a renewed appreciation for nature's power and beauty. In a world that often seems disconnected from the natural world, their legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of living in harmony with the earth. The rituals, symbols, and practices they left behind offer a way to reconnect with the natural forces that shape our existence. Every step taken on a forest path, every breath of fresh air, and every glance at a crackling fire carries a piece of the elemental magic that has been handed down through the ages. The enduring presence of these forces in our lives is a testament to the deep, unbreakable bond between humanity and nature. The elemental witches, with their profound understanding of the natural world, have left an indelible mark on our collective consciousness. Their legacy is not confined to ancient texts or distant myths. It lives on in the way we honor the earth and its elements. Their magic, once seen as a mysterious and powerful force, is now recognized as a vital part of our spiritual and emotional well-being. As we navigate our modern lives, the influence of elemental witches is ever present. Their respect for nature's cycles and their understanding of the elements continue to inspire and guide us. In every ritual performed, in every story told, and in every moment of reflection, their legacy endures, reminding us of the timeless connection between humanity and the natural world.